That 38 seconds creeps up awful fast.
Hey there.
Hey.
Let me just get my screen set up here.
If you're not watching, 38 seconds goes by really fast.
Yeah, it does.
And there's Jim. Can you hear us, Jim? Jim's got headphones now. But I don't know if he can hear us. His microphone isn't showing up at all now.
That's right.
There it is. It showed up now.
Okay.
Is that better?
There you go.
Yep.
It got confused, and then when I rebooted it, felt better.
Yeah. I had a weird thing happen to my machine last night. I went to pick Patty up. Admittedly, I had probably 200 tabs open on Chrome.
Okay.
Yeah, well, long story. I was looking up something and I just kept clicking on the next thing and the next thing, and a bunch of tabs were open. But I walked away from the computer. I went to pick Patty up. I was gone half hour, 45 minutes, and when I came back, the computer had wiped out the Wi-Fi. Chrome was closed. The video that I was playing was closed. Something else was closed. I mean, just everything looked like it had done like a soft reboot, but the Wi-Fi wasn't working. And I sat there and went, what the heck? I mean, it was the weirdest thing. I probably ate every bit of memory that it had, but but it was just weird because it wasn't acting weird or anything. It wasn't doing anything weird when I left.
How much RAM do you have in the machine?
This machine's got 8 gigs.
You probably did run out of RAM.
Yeah. Well, it's really the only thing I can think of, but I don't know why it would shut the Wi-Fi off.
Don't either.
And not only did it shut the Wi-Fi off, but it wouldn't let me. It kept telling me I didn't have permission to turn the Wi-Fi back on.
It was
I had-
vengeful.
Well, I had to reboot it basically, and then everything started working. Yeah, it's got let's see, this machine. This is the i5. It's a quad core with hyper threads. So it acts like a 6-core, and it's got 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah. Linux picks up the hyper threading like they're separate cores.
Yeah.
I don't really understand that either, but in fact, since it says there's 6 cores, there may only be 3 real cores and 3 hyper threading cores on this thing. I'm not sure. Barry would probably know if they made a tri-core i5. I guess I could Google it. Speaking of Barry, hey Barry, Did they make a 3-core i5? Do you know?
What's that?
This machine that I'm on was acting a little funny last night, and I just looked. Did they make a 3-core i5, or was it always a dual core and a quad core? Or do
I'm
you
not aware of an i5 being,
tri-core?
Yeah.
Or whatever they want to call that.
I call them hex because they're
Hex
got
core.
6 threads.
Yeah, yeah.
I did that with some Xeons, but I don't know if I'm ever doing anything other than probably i7.
No. I'm showing 6 cores is what I'm showing. So, and I know this is the i5.
Oh, that's odd.
And doing a quick Google search, apparently they did.
I was gonna say my problem with a lot of the i5s is they lock the core on a lot of models to where you only have the 4.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, I sent a,
Yeah. There's Vicente. He's back.
I solved my heating problem. I got a desktop. Hopefully that'll solve my heating problem with my video stuff.
Everybody see the heat pipes? The heat pipe video? Or did you just share that with me?
I didn't see it.
I thought you were the one that sent me the heat pipe video.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Okay.
I don't know if it might entertain them. Have you guys seen the heat pipe, heat exchanger on the laptops? You know what I'm talking about? There's a link in your news and also in the meeting announcement. They're pretty interesting technology. It's basically they're using 2 phases of liquid or a gas, 2 phases of liquid as a heat exchanger, and it works great. You put heat on one end and it evaporates the liquid, and the other end with the fan in it cools it off, and it's almost immediate heat transfer. And that's what they're putting in the laptops and some of the desktops too, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think I knew that. I just forgot.
Yeah. It's just a copper tube about 6 inches long. That's it. And they put a heat exchanger on one end, and they connect the other end to the top of the chip. I'll send me the, oh, you got, yeah, send me the link to that. Is that a program or a?
What, the system monitor?
Yeah.
That is a Linux. That's built into Linux.
Oh, okay. I've got a task manager. Yeah.
That's kind of sort of what that is, sort of. Kind of. I'm really not sure that I knew what I actually bought when I bought this machine. I just bought it. It just seemed like a good idea. It's definitely a step up from the i3.
Oh yeah.
But it's a step below the i7. So
I've my new $300 PC is a quad core i7. It's good so far. at $300. Okay.
And that's what you're using now instead
Yeah.
of the laptops?
Yeah, that's why I was so messed up. It was a new install of Zoom.
Ah.
It's
You did, Martin, from Ray. Don't run the new version of Zoom.
yeah, I just installed Zoom on this computer. Yeah. It's a Lenovo recovered from somebody's massive install.
I like Lenovo. All my machines are Lenovo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're pretty reliable.
I was happy to see a fan on top of the chip directly without a heat exchanger, because the laptops were giving me a fit. So now you can get a lot of power cheap. That's just amazing.
You
I guess the quad core is old hat now. Art's probably got an 8-core, huh, Art?
Actually, I've got a hex core here. But I don't use Intel chips in general. I use AMD chips.
I used to AMD used to be all I ever bought, and then one day the Intel chip, I mean the machine was just cheaper to buy it, and I went, oh, okay. And at the time I was more of a lot more frugal with, a lot more stingy with my money.
We don't believe that.
I was going to say, that sets the bar pretty low.
It really does. But I have bought Intel products pretty much ever since, but they have to be the i series. I don't like any of the other Intel stuff. And I really like the i7s. They're just expensive.
You don't own any i9s yet?
No. I'm waiting for those to hit the auction so that I could get them cheap. You know, I still want them cheap.
The i9s are overpriced junk.
I want them cheap. No, I like you know I got that i7 desktop. I mean it's an older model, but I got that for, I don't know, $30 or something. You know, from that auction. And I really like it. I don't use it nearly as enough, but I really like it. It's a really good machine. And it's solid. It's like, it doesn't give me nearly as many problems as any of the other ones.
What auction was this?
That look what I found bid site. They don't, sometimes they have computers, most of the time it's household stuff. So you always have to just kind of go in there and look to see what they're selling. And I don't think they ship stuff. I think you have to pick it up. So they're down in well, they're close to Mount Healthy now. They moved.
Well, that makes it a bit impractical for me.
Yeah. Of course, you could probably always, you know, call a friend or something and say, "Can you go and pick this up for me?"
Yeah.
But-
I liked it when I used to be able to go to the UC surplus sales. Now you can go to the whatever that government site
Hello.
is and buy the stuff. Problem is you got to buy a pallet load of this stuff. You can't buy one-offs.
Yeah.
It depends. Sometimes you can, but my problem is since UC's done that, they usually gut them for the RAM too.
Yeah.
Somebody's there stealing the RAM at the distribution point.
The
Well, I think they always remove the drives from them, but the ones
Oh
I
yeah.
had bought, the ones I had bought generally had RAM in them.
Well, that's the saying. Since they've gone to the government site, there's a lot of them where they only have like 1 gig of RAM, or if they have RAM at all, because somebody's swapping them out and taking them all, the chips, because they're worth so much there for a while.
best,
Well, I
the
think
best
RAM prices are getting more reasonable again. But
when I was buying from UC a lot, I would go down to their in-house deal, and they usually had 2 or 3 pallets sitting there, and you would bid on them. What do they call that? A closed bid or something. You just write down your maximum price, and whoever had the maximum price would get to take it home. And that was usually the way I bought that stuff. But most of that stuff was parts. It was pretty clear that it was already gutted, or that the stuff was, and you usually could get out of 30 or 40 machines, you could get probably 25 or so of them up and running with all the parts that were left on the pallet. So
I never went to the UC site when you were bidding on anything.
this
were
was
all
down.
fixed.
This was down. You actually had to go physically inside the building,
Yeah,
and
that's,
they
yeah.
would had to have they would have 2 or 3 pallets sitting there, and uh, you would just you write down what you want, what you were willing to pay for it, and the guy that was running the place would open all the bids up at like noon or something, and say, you won, or whatever, or it went for this much, and that was it. It was, you
Hmm.
know, it
When I
wasn't.
when I was going there for 2 or 3 years, they were all fixed prices, and they were generally
Well, they
same.
had that too. There were like 2 different rooms, or actually it was like one entire floor, but he had pallets of stuff, and then he had another little room that was full of laptops and desktops that were set up and running and ready to go. And then he had stacks that he would guarantee were working, except they didn't have Windows already installed on them or something. And you could buy them by the singles there, or you could buy them by the entire stack. And then he had copiers and chairs and all kinds of stuff. I mean, just
Yeah, there was a lot of furniture when I was going there. As a matter of fact, I bought a couple of um, tall bookcases.
yeah, refrigerators and lab equipment, and I mean, just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
And
there were a lot of physics and chemistry lab stuff there.
yeah, but no, there were. You kind of had to know what those pallets were about, because it just kind of looked like they were they're ready to be put together to for them to sell, but it wasn't. That it was, they would let you bid on those, and they would run. It was like, I don't know, a closed bid or a sealed bid or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there were only like, usually there were only like 3 or 4 of us down there, and we all knew pretty much what we were willing to pay for that stuff. So everybody was able to walk out of there with a pallet, because there was usually 3 or 4 pallets sitting there. So we would collude a little bit because, you know, you're not really supposed to do that. But we would say, well, I'm kind of willing to go like 150 on this pallet. Yeah, I would do 200 on it. Okay, well, what about this pallet over here? You know. So we kind of all just kind of agreed which pallets we wanted and how much we were willing to spend, and we would all walk out of there spending usually less than $200 a piece. Uh, but if you wanted good working machines, he had another whole room that had monitors and mice and keyboards. And if you didn't like the keyboard that he had a whole box full of keyboards, so you could just pull the keyboard off and throw it in the box and get another keyboard out.
Was this the place, the surplus place that's down there right off of 75?
Mm,
The place I went was a warehouse down there. It was the UC surplus warehouse, and it was a couple of 100 yards from 75.
I wouldn't.
Couldn't,
No, I would go. You know, the Norwood lateral. You take the Norwood lateral over and get off on Reading Road, and you would go down south. You'd go probably 3 or 4 miles, probably 3 miles, and there was like it was like an old Rinks grocery store.
no, this is different than where I was going. Where I went was actually a warehouse, and it was the collection point for the entire university's surplus stuff.
Well, that's what he said that place was that's where all the surplus came. So they have moved stuff around from when you were going to when I was going, or vice versa.
Yeah, I was going from like 2016, 17. I think in 18 they shut it down. I might have gone there in 15 also. But then they went to this business. First of all, they shut it down completely. And then they started doing it through this government site. I don't remember
Right.
what the name of the site is. I think Barry was the one that pointed me at that. And I tracked around, and that covers the whole country. That isn't just UC. Government deals, yeah. And they sell everything,
They sell everything.
including down, if you look under the G there, it says garbage.
Yeah. That is 7 dump boxes.
Yeah.
Do we need 7 dump boxes? It's only in Columbia, Tennessee. We could run down there pretty fast and get those suckers.
Yeah.
They ship stuff, or you?
No,
have to-
you usually
gotta-
you have to go and pick that stuff
You
up.
have to pick it up. And as a matter of fact, once you've purchased it, you have a certain limited time window in which you've got to pick it up.
Yep.
It's like 5 days or something like that.
Yeah,
Was,
we were when we had the computer shop, we were on Gov Deals a lot. We were traveling all over the East Coast picking stuff up because basically you could get some good deals, but then people figured out that you could get some good deals, and now you can't get great deals off of Gov Deals anymore. Stuff goes for way more than what you want to pay for most of the time.
Yeah.
And then you got to figure in your travel time and how much it's going to cost to go and travel, and
truck rental and so forth and so on.
well, we actually, when we were doing it, I had a minivan, so usually the truck rental wasn't a big deal. We got down to a place in Georgia, we bought some stuff, and I was going to be able to put what we bought into the minivan, no problem. But when I got down to the warehouse, the guy had pallets and pallets and pallets full of more stuff. And he said he just didn't have time to list it all on Gov Deals. So he said, make me an offer on any of it. And I said, called my partner up and said, wire me some money. I'm making an offer on a whole bunch of stuff. And we had to go and rent a Ryder truck to bring it all home because I spent, I don't know, $4,000 or something and got like 70 or 80 pallets of stuff. And some of it, I didn't even know what I got. I just said, put it on the truck, put it on the truck. And we got it back home and I was like, oh, cool. Look, this one little do flippy, that's like worth $1,000. That's when we were selling stuff on eBay. So it
Now,
was
was
a good
that-
deal.
Was that mostly schools or industrial or what?
He was he was the surplus what do you call that guy? He was the guy in charge of all the surplus for all the government entities in the state of Georgia.
Ah,
So all of them. He would get all their surplus, and he had like 7 or 8 warehouses scattered throughout Georgia. So you might buy something and have to pick it up at one warehouse, and another pallet would be at another warehouse. So you would have to travel around. But he had, when we went to that warehouse, it was huge. It was a huge warehouse. And he had so much stuff crammed in there that he couldn't keep up with it. And he was ready to make stuff go away. He just was.
well, if that's your job, that's what you do.
Yeah. He said he was supposed to list stuff on Gov Deals, but he had so much stuff that he just wasn't able to keep up with it. And some of those pallets looked like they had been sitting there for, a year. The layer of dust on them was just outrageous. But we made him an offer on all the pallets, every pallet he had in the warehouse, and we got all the pallets.
And that's how you got your Porsche?
Well, it was a good deal. The biggest problem with that deal was I was also supposed to pick stuff up in Florida and South Carolina during that same trip. So the truck was so full that I had to basically drive the truck back home and then drive back to Florida to pick up the stuff. And that was pretty much the downside of that particular trip. We were not planning on buying a bunch of stuff. We had enough stuff to keep us busy for a couple of years. We were just cleaning stuff and listing it on eBay and throwing the junk away.
So what happened to the computer store?
Well, long story short, we really weren't charging enough to do the service work. My business partner at the time, I think he had 7 kids, and we weren't really making enough of a living wage. So he had to take a regular job, and then I just got stressed out because I was there pretty much 24 hours a day, all by myself. And while we while we were making well we really weren't making money because we weren't charging enough. We were making enough to pay the bills. We weren't making enough to actually pay ourselves. But that was a separate entity from the eBay shop. The eBay guy, my he was a really really good friend of mine, and he passed away. So
Hmm.
that kind of ended the whole run around the country and pick stuff up and sell it on eBay. Because while I was running, he was listing stuff and shipping stuff. So that was, you really need a couple of people to do stuff like that because somebody has to stay there and take care of it, and somebody has to run and pick stuff up. Um, we were doing pretty good with the eBay stuff though. That was more than paying for everything that we were doing, and it was fun because I got to travel all over the place and see interesting things. I was out on a little research station out in the Gulf of Mexico picking stuff up. Yes, we were nuts. We bought a plotter from a research station in the Gulf of Mexico.
Down to 8 minutes, 8 and a fraction minutes.
You know, let's see. In 8 minutes time, what kind of computer hardware do we have in Gov Deals? Ah, good. 7,000 for Chromebooks. What?
How many Chromebooks?
Those do not. Oh yeah, they're Chromebooks. 136. Purchased in 2015. 70 of them have chargers. Are people really bidding on this?
Is that the latest bid, or is that
I don't think anybody's bid on it.
that's just a minimum?
That's the minimum. $7,000. Holy cow. An iMac for, let's see, ends in a couple of days. I think that's an old iMac, but it's up to $32. That's probably not a bad deal.
Does it say it works?
If you believe the picture, it's booted up. It's showing Mac OS utilities. And it says, that's just weird. It says hard drive is in unit, but it's been wiped. But I see a picture.
Yeah, how do they boot it if the hard drive's wiped?
Hard drive has been wiped. I see a picture. I even see the bar. Okay. Go figure that one out. Oh. Basically, nobody's really bidding on computer stuff in Ohio right now. I don't blame them. Scrap pieces. Anybody need some scrap computers? You need some scrap computers, Vicente?
I have a lot.
I was going to say I was supply in my garage.
Or some really, really, really old computers?
I have an Apple II GS.
Do you have a GS?
Yes, I have a GS.
Hold on to that sucker. That's going to be worth some money. Ray's
Yeah,
late.
I'm not
Ray's here.
planning on getting rid of that, but hey, there's Ray.
Yep, he's showed up right at the end.
I'm on.
What time zone are you in, Ray?
I'm at the Monroe exit.
He's home.
I am high speeding it from Georgia, and I am just now arriving to the Monroe exit on I-75. How you guys doing?
Good.
Okay.
I missed everything, right?
Pretty much.
Oh, congratulations.
A new scope, oscilloscope,
2-channel, what kind?
5
Tim,
kilohertz.
A Tenma?
Tim, yeah.
So that's got to be a couple years old, isn't it?
I don't know.
Couple hundred.
Because I thought they stopped selling those.
Well,
Maybe, I don't know. That one's out of New Jersey instead of out of Springboro.
that one came from, yeah, probably. That one came from Micro Center. $100.
Good deal. What is it? A 60 or
It's
100?
30 megahertz, 2-channel.
okay?
It was listed as being right under $400, and it's obviously a closeout. They were closing it out, so it probably is a couple years old. But who cares? It works,
Yeah.
and it was cheap.
They got any left?
They had one left. They had one left when I left them this morning. So
Okay.
get on their website. They may still have it.
I'll go down there tomorrow. It'll be $50.
I don't see.
Oh,
in
if it's
Micro
50,
Center.
if it's $50, then you can just give me the extra 50 and I'll be happy.
Just don't tell Leroy.
I've actually been watching it. It's been dropping in price. It started at $200 and then it went to 160. And I said, if it gets to 100, I would buy it. And it was $103. So that's as close to 100 as it's going to get.
Okay.
Ray, what would you do with another oscilloscope? Seriously.
Ray doesn't need another one.
Look in your
I
rear
would-
view mirror, move your rear view mirror and look into it and look back at yourself.
You can use it
Yourself.
like a desk lamp.
Yeah, that's it. Make a desk lamp out of it. That's it.
Conversation piece.
It's not bad. It's got the Ethernet jack. It's got the storage. It's got the software for Windows to.
So you can see the bad shapes everywhere.
Yeah.
The waveforms everywhere.
Yep. It's not a bad. I didn't think it was a bad deal for $100. Oh yeah. We know you're driving, Ray. We can see your seatbelt.
Crap.
Ray's in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have an earthquake in your office. Everything's moving.
And there's the steering wheel.
And there's the steering.
Yeah.
His wife put a steering wheel on his desk. Yeah.
Oh, he's just playing video games. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
it is.
exactly. Yes.
All right. Okay, guys. No, the only reason I would buy another oscilloscope is to leave some low cost tools at the makerspace. I don't want to leave a Tektronix and a $300, $400 hand tech or something else sitting there.
Yeah.
If we've got some 30 megahertz scope,
16
that
seconds.
would be acceptable.
Yeah.
Somebody just wants to look at a basic signal, great. If they
See
want to use a
everybody next
better
week.
scope, oh, sorry.
Bye.
Sorry.
Maybe drop by